Bloomberg did a report on food poisoning here in the United States, and it turns out that in 2011, about 4.8 million Americans contracted some sort of foodborne illness. In fact, about 3,037 people died that year because of food poisoning. So it's a real problem, and Bloomberg thought that they would kind of delve into the details and figure out why this is happening. It turns out that the FDA is underfunded right now, and the Republicans have actually voted to cut more funding to the FDA. So they have limited resources when it comes to testing our food before it actually goes out to the markets. So what they're doing to kind of cut costs and save money is they're hiring a third party to do the tests for them, right? And they do the tests in a cheaper way. The reason why it's cheaper is because they don't really do any tests. Yeah. And a lot of times they have ties to the executives in these big food companies. So the food companies will basically draw out what the guidelines are, and they'll say, here are the guidelines, go ahead and test us. And they're buddies, they're friends, they know one another, and the food doesn't get tested. Thus, 3,037 people died last year because of the lack of regulation in our food industry.
Yeah, it turns out that you can, surprise, surprise, save a lot of money by not actually going to the place you're supposed to inspect. And this is effectively like one step removed from self-regulation, which I would not trust at all. They do know these regulators in a lot of cases. The regulators don't have enough time to inspect all the food anyway, even if they wanted to, and so they often don't. The basis for this, or for this article, was that the House Republicans want to take money away, and their statement was, our food's 99% safe, man, so we don't need to start making sure that it's safe anymore. First of all, it's not 99% safe. As we see, like a very small percentage of the food that's coming into this country is actually inspected in the first place. But even if that was the case, I want it to stay 99% safe.
I absolutely agree.
It's incredibly frustrating, too, that whenever a story like this comes up, I look at the headline and I think, oh my God, in the end I'm going to find out that thousands of people die from this. And it's true, 3,000 died. So last year, as many people died, basically, as died in the attacks on 9/11. And what's bothering to me about this is that we cannot look at a number like that and react in a rational way as humans, psychologically. 3,000 people dying from food, whatever, don't care. Oh my God, a bomb goes off and kills 3,000 people?
Because it all happens at once, and it becomes a huge disaster that everyone...
But it should bother us just as much.
It should bother us just as much, because this doesn't just impact a certain population of people in one area of the United States. This affects all of us. All of us eat this food, right? And if it's just a little undercooked, I mean, think about how many different types of food have been recalled recently because of E. coli or other, bacteria or diseases that are going to make us extremely sick, whether it's lettuce or tomatoes or peanut butter, eggs. I mean, I feel like it constantly happens. I mean, mad cow disease. Why does this continue to happen? And why do we even have an FDA in place when we are defunding them and they're virtually useless?
Yeah. It bothers me that the Republicans have been talking about deregulation for this long, and people still hear deregulation and think a little bit more money or a little bit more freedom. No, they should think about a family dying from E. coli in their hamburgers. They should think about a girl getting fungal meningitis because the drugs aren't being inspected before they're going out to... Like, this is what the Democrats should be pushing out there, that when you save a couple of dollars by deregulating, people lose their lives because of it. And yeah, you may not see them on the news every day. It may just be a number. 50 people died from fungal meningitis. 40 people died from E. coli. But those people count just as much as if a Muslim had killed them.
And also, when you really think about what we use our funds for, right? So like tax revenue. Our tax money goes toward things like war, right? Defense funding. How much of our money goes toward that? But at the end of the day, how much of our money actually gets used to look out for us, right? I want my tax dollars to go to things like the FDA, because I want to make sure the food I eat is safe and it's inspected properly. I don't want my money to go to Afghanistan. I don't want it to go to the Middle East. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And that's the reason why a lot of Americans right now, if you ask them, would you rather take a tax cut? A lot of them would be like, well, my money's not getting spent properly. You know, a lot of informed people would say, well, right now, because of the deficits and all of that, we probably need to increase tax revenue. But it's just...
You would think.
You would think, right. But this is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy, because you realize, you look at your check, you realize how much money gets cut out every month, and how much of it really goes toward things that are helping us and protecting us.